All right, welcome back, everyone. I want to welcome into the show Jordan Szabo, the head women's tennis coach at Auburn. And Jordan, appreciate you being with us. Congratulations again on the SEC championship yesterday or Sunday over the Vanderbilt Commodores in only year number two of being the head coach at Auburn. That's quite an accomplishment.
Yeah, it was an awesome day. We've had an amazing season, and it's been a lot of fun to win a ton of matches and be successful, and to put a rubber stamp on the end of the regular season with a big time win for us was just amazing. So senior day, all of our seniors won, and yeah, get a big win over it. A really good team in Vanderbilt. They're a top 15 team. They've beaten Georgia, who's number one in the nation as well. So they're a scary team, and to be able to kind of dominate the match after a tight doubles point was awesome, especially with how much pressure was on the line and stuff. So yeah, it was an amazing day and very exciting for the girls and great for the program. So very exciting stuff.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Vanderbilt's a pretty good team. It was kind of hit or miss there in the doubles there for a while, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah, we were down. We were playing tight, and we weren't really playing our game, and we're kind of letting the moment get the better of us, and we found a way to string a few points together and keep it close, and then they kind of faltered, and we kind of took our chance. So, I think in this sport, you'll always get an opportunity or a little window to come back in a match, or really. Break the lead open. And, we had a very, very small window and we took our opportunity and we ran with it. And that's what good teams do. That's what championship teams do. And usually, like throughout the course of a marathon season like that we do, and playing so many matches, there's going to be moments in the year which go one way or the other and define you. And yesterday was one of those. And, that would have been really deflating for them, where I imagine that they probably felt like they needed that point. And yeah, but we took it and we ran with it, and yeah, really extended a bunch of leads early in the singles, and just a picture perfect day for us.
Yeah. And it ended, as we said, with celebration. You were off to the baseball game into Toomer's Corner. What was that like for you and the girls and the assistant coaches yesterday?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. The girls were so excited. Auburn does it right. They always treat the teams, with the respect that the moment deserves, and obviously celebrated here. And then they're like, let's go to the baseball game. And John and my sports administrator, Paris, figured it out really quickly. And the girls were over on the top of the dugout and throwing shirts out to the fans, and they got a lot of love from them. And then I went down to Toombs and got some great pictures and great memories that they'll have for the rest of their lives. So it was a beautiful day in Auburn, and yeah, just an amazing moment, and some great memories that those players will have for the rest of their life. So it was really, really sweet to be recognized, and just a lot of love from everyone in the community, which was amazing to see. So couldn't have scripted it much better than how it went.
Yeah. Auburn is starved for a victory, so it came at a good time. Um,
Yeah, well, we're happy to play our part. Hopefully, there's a lot of success rest of this spring for all the other sports, but hopefully we kind of like get the ball rolling here.
yeah. You mentioned your seniors. I know, I think two of them have been there for the duration, and you maybe brought another one in. What have they meant to this team, and how is it, the two that have been there, how important has it been for them to, turn over to a new coach and kind of buy into what you're doing and get to this point, to the SEC championship, and some of the other girls that have come on and made this
Mhm.
possible as well?
Yeah, like obviously the three seniors are great players. They wouldn't be playing up anchoring the top of the lineup for us if they weren't great players, but I think they also have a lot of experience. Katia, who I brought in from Florida International, she was just looking to play at a higher level school, and she's really elevated her level with the competition that we're able to provide her here within our team, but also playing in the SEC. So, she's been huge and crucial, and to be able to get a player like that off the portal was a big deal for us at the time. And, Angie and DJ, they were left over. And, I think it's weird coaching changes sometimes. Players aren't happy about it. Sometimes players are happy about it. But at the end of the day, usually when there's a coaching change, there's a reason for it. I can't imagine too many coaches are leaving Auburn optionally. So, generally some of these players are looking for a new environment, or there needs to be a refresher of the culture or whatever it may be. So I think they were excited for when I came in for something different, and they've both really elevated their game and really fitted in well with what we're trying to do. They want to be professional tennis players, and we're trying to provide a really professional training environment for these players to really excel and grow while they're here. And they've really just been very successful since I've been here. They were quality players and they've really elevated themselves to, the top echelon of college tennis. So,
Yeah.
having your best players be your older experienced players is definitely a very good thing. And they can be hard to replace them, but we've got some great players in the wings coming through, and some people to take their spots in the years to come. But yeah, it's been an awesome year, and we wouldn't be in the position we are without those three for sure.
How does it work, Jordan, in college tennis? When
Mhm.
a new coach comes in, do you have a drastically different style, or what kind of conversion was it for those two when you
Yeah,
came in?
I definitely think it's different personalities of the coaches. I definitely think a different way of like training the players. You know, college tennis, why it's great is because it's a team sport, and these players have been playing an individual sport for so long, and it's now a team environment, and that's what makes it fun. But being a good tennis player is an individual thing, like when you're playing singles, you've got to go out and get the job done. It really doesn't matter what's happening on the other court. So I really individualize things as much as possible because we have some girls who are 6 foot tall, and we have some girls who are 5'3" in different body shapes, and they don't need to be trained the same way. They have different strengths and weaknesses. And, just because you're a singles player, it's not like a linebacker. Most linebackers are doing a certain thing, or quarterbacks have to do a certain thing. Here, you can be playing singles and be almost playing a totally different sport almost. So we've really individualized things, and I think that was an adjustment for the players when I got here for the few that were the leftovers. The kids who come in with you or freshmen or whatever, they don't know any different, right? But I think that was an adjustment, getting their bodies used to the different way of training. But I just think we try to really work hard. We try to have a really positive environment. We push them. We have high standards, like very high intensity. You don't. I always tell recruits if you don't want to play tennis, this ain't the place to come because we're going to play a lot of tennis. But we try to have fun doing it. This is meant to be a fun experience. My college tennis days at Texas A&M were the best years of my life for sure, and I want it to be for them too. But I believe a great experience is putting all your energy into it, all your effort into it, and trying to win. And that's a good experience. It's not hanging out at night in the weekends and having a bunch of free time in college. I don't think that's a great experience. So we're real honest in the recruiting. They know what they're getting themselves into, and we want players who want to shoot for the stars. And usually those kind of people want to be around people like that as well. They don't want to be around mediocre people. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a really good environment, I think, and clearly the results going our way. So we'll think we're doing something good. We'll take a little bit of credit for it.
Yeah, no question about it. Chatting with Jordan Szabo, the Auburn women's tennis coach, SEC champions. And Jordan, appreciate you being with us again. You mentioned we talked a little bit about transition, but what about you? You mentioned Texas A&M. You played there. You
Hmm.
were an assistant coach there, the
Hmm.
recruiting coordinator, I think.
Hmm.
You won 3 SEC championships and a national championship the year before you left. When the Auburn job came open, did you immediately think that's for me?
Yeah, I didn't know. Like I'd been offered a few jobs the last few years before that. We'd started had a little bit of success, and I'd been lucky enough to win a few individual accolades, and you start getting like your name in the hat for some jobs. And I turned down a Big Ten job, a couple SEC jobs, and it just wasn't the right fit. I had a good thing going at A&M. Like obviously I played there and spent basically my whole adult life there. So I wasn't just going to leave for anything, but I had an amazing conversation with John Cohen and Lee Van Horn, his chief of staff, and it's just something about them I really liked. It was, it felt like not talking to an administrator. It felt like talking to a coach, which obviously John is,
Yeah.
and I kind of liked that. It was, he was very supportive of me and what I wanted to do, and he kind of echoed the same feelings as me. He's like, I don't want to know what your coaching philosophy is. I know you want to win, like your philosophy, whatever it takes to win, and that just really resonated with me. So that was the first thing that really attracted to me. Obviously, I'd been to Auburn a bunch of times as a player, and as a coach. But when you're here, you just like going to like pick up some food and go to the courts. You're not like really seeing the town. And where our facilities a little off campus, so I hadn't even been like where the beautiful parts of the Auburn campus were. So I didn't really know honestly what a great deal I was getting into and what a great situation from Auburn as itself. But, John and Lee, and they brought me in on a little visit, and, I just really thought that this was the spot for me because of the people, and, I know every athletic director, 50% of people like him, 50% of people don't like him, just like the president or whatever. And,
Yeah.
but, I couldn't speak more highly of John and Lee and their staff and everyone at Auburn and what they've done for me. And they really, really support the coaches and they support the student athletes and they give them every opportunity to be the best they can be. And like, who knows what's going to happen in the future with me or anyone. But no one's going to sing Cohen's praises more than I will. And him and and Lee are the reason why I'm here. And, now I've been here for nearly 2 years, I got to realize how great a place Auburn is. And that's what I meant earlier is I didn't know what a good situation I'm getting into from a lifestyle standpoint, that Auburn's just an amazing town and there's a lot to do and it's so safe and the people are so friendly and the football games are so fun and the atmosphere is amazing and
They get
all
better.
that. Yeah, it's just a great environment. And, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for John and Lee and, how much I like them. But I didn't know what a good situation I was getting myself into. But Auburn's
Yeah.
amazing. And I feel really lucky to be here. And all my players feel that way too, which I think is really neat.
Yeah. Well, I hope they put a huge buyout in there for Texas A&M that he will never go
Yeah.
back.
Yeah. I don't know if they want me back. So I'm here for as long as they'll keep me. So.
When you came in to Auburn, obviously there was a little bump in the road there. Uh, I'm sure listening to you, you had a plan to, a vision. Here's where we want to go. Did you did you ever imagine that it would get here in 2 years?
Funny, like people ask me that, and I knew we had a shot to be pretty good straight away. I knew I'd be able to bring in some good players, but you just never know how the players are going to turn out. And I think it happened probably a little quicker than I would have expected, but I didn't put any limits on us either way. We have goals. Like my goal is always going to be we're going to try and win national title because I think that's what you're trying to do, right? If you shoot for the stars, you'll get as close to it as you can each year. But each year will throw you different challenges. My overall goal is to try and overachieve each year based on the circumstances and the roster and everything. And obviously, you determine your roster, but you try your hardest. Everyone's trying their hardest to get the best players they can get. Sometimes they fall your way, they don't. But I'm just trying to do everything right every single year to give us the best shot to win. I think we're not women's tennis or men's tennis is not like basketball where you have 10 new players every year. Like what I did, I had 7 new players my first year. That's not normal. And
Yeah.
that's not a recipe for success in this day and age in this game. But we were able to piece the team together last year and probably overachieve a little bit and finish eight. And then this year, we built a roster that was really good. And now the challenge is going to be trying to sustain it. I kind of think and this is going to maybe not be PG, but I think we suck if we're not like in the top 10, So
Yeah.
like that, I have very high expectations. And, the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, I don't think I've coached a team that hasn't made the Sweet 16 since like 2017. So I think only 1 year in my coaching career, the team hasn't made the Sweet 16. So we have high standards and high goals and we're shooting for the stars. But I think, if you're shooting for the top, like even if you don't quite get there, a Sweet 16 is something pretty good. But
Yeah.
we're going to keep going forward and, hopefully success will breed more success and better players. And, hopefully I keep growing as a coach and I'm still a young coach and I'm hoping that I can get better and in turn that'll help make the team better as well. So, but yeah, we didn't put any expectations on it. We're just trying to be the best we can be and got to work and we just keep trying to do the right thing. So.
For those of you who didn't already guess, Jordan is from Australia, grew up there. And as I understand it, Jordan, you were bouncing a tennis ball from a young age
Mhm.
and got to be a pretty good player in Australia, one of the top 5 players in Australia.
Uh-huh.
How much of a decision was it for you to go to Texas A&M or turn pro or what have you?
Mhm. Yeah, like I was growing up, my goal, I wanted to play Davis Cup, which is representing your country in Australia. That was my goal. I wanted to play Davis Cup for Australia. And I really wasn't thinking about coming to the US and playing college tennis. And, I had some coaches who had played at the University of Tennessee when I was kind of getting late in my junior career. And, I was being successful and did well in the Australian Open Junior Tournament, Grand Slam. But it was kind of the path for me and my family. And, my parents were definitely heavily pushing it, my mom in particular. And it was definitely the best decision I made. I had quite a few options over here, and I built a great connection with the assistant coach at the time at Texas A&M on the men's side. And yeah, I came over, and the rest is kind of history. And met my wife at Texas A&M. She was a soccer player, and yeah, like Texas A&M was most of my adult life until about 2 years ago. So
Yeah,
I was obviously had a shot to be a player and didn't quite get there. And, I think, most coaches, good coaches, in my opinion, are just players that can't play anymore. And that's what we're trying to do is we're trying to create value for these girls and help them get to the next level. And yeah, just trying to learn some lessons from what I maybe should have done better or what I didn't like as a player and trying to pass it on to the next generation. And it's been pretty successful so far.
absolutely. Again, chatting with Jordan Szabo, head women's tennis coach at Auburn. And a few more minutes here, Jordan. You guys are heading to the SECs now. Let's look
Mhm.
forward in Norman, Oklahoma
Mhm.
this week. In basketball, a lot of college coaches would say the SEC tournament. Well, I don't know if I want to play that well there. Maybe just get home and get some rest and get ready for the big show. But how do you approach this week?
We're going to win it. We're trying to win it. So, the draw is just stacked. The SEC, the new ranking is going to come out. I think the top four teams in the nation are going to be all SEC schools. We're going to get obviously the double bye to Friday. We're going to probably play Florida in the first match. That's going to be 12 in the country. So, they're the sixth seed. LSU's like 13 in the country. They're going to be the ninth seed in the league. So, but we're going to win it. Like there's 2 weeks off. I think basketball and some of these other sports only has a week in between.
Yeah.
We have 2 weeks in between. We're going to try and win another title, and it's kind of that time of the year. You win or go home, and I think the way women's tennis works, it's kind of like baseball. You got the first two rounds in the regional, then you got a super regional, and then you go to the final site, which this year it's in Athens, Georgia. So, we kind of control our own destiny with home court through the suites. Sorry, through the Elite Eight. We will, based on everything going on with the rankings right now. So, but the final site, you play 3 days in a row. So this is a true test. The SEC tournament is just like what the final site's going to be like for the NCAA. So, we definitely could lose the first day on Friday in the quarters. Florida's a great team, but we also could very much well easily be there on Sunday. It's kind of all in our hands, in my opinion. I think if we play our best tennis, we'll be there on Sunday for sure. But if we're not quite at 100%, and we'll lose. So I think it'll be a great test for us and a great challenge, and it's exactly what we need to get ready for the NCAAs because we want to be there the last weekend in Athens, Georgia. So, but we're going definitely not throwing up the white flag ever. We're trying to win. Every match we go in, we're trying to win. We could be playing the high school teams in town, and we'll be trying to put a beat down on them. So we're competitive and we're shooting for the stars. And when you go that way, you sometimes are let down more than the good moments sometimes. But whilst I'm the coach at Auburn, we'll be going to try and win every event that we're in. So.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, I think you'd have the regionals if you're top eight, right?
Top 16, you host
Top
the first
16.
two rounds. If
Okay.
you're top eight, you can host a super regional too. So, I think we're going to be three this week. I think there's like a math formula, like kind of like RPI. I think it's almost impossible for us to not be in the top eight.
Yeah.
Um,
So I was going to say
so
it's a great chance for Auburn people if they want to see this tennis team. SEC champions is a great chance for them to come out to the regional and super regional.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like we're hoping we get a great crowd. It's the regionals on graduation weekend, but I think we'd play us if we were fortunate enough to win our first match. It would be on the Friday. It'd be Saturday, 1 o'clock. The Auburn Tennis Center is a great place to watch a tennis match. You can bring your dogs. You can bring You bring your booze, you can bring whatever you want to bring out here, and get rowdy for our match. And then if we were fortunate enough to host a super regional, be on, I think that next Friday, May 7th or 8th, whatever it is, at 5 o'clock. So the weather's getting better and better. And, we have a championship team on our campus and we get great fan support, but we love everybody. And honestly, the college tennis is like such an underrated thing. Like the cool thing is there's 6 matches going on at once. So you don't like one style of player or you don't like the way one girl's acting, there's 5 other courts you can go and participate and watch. And another neat thing is like at a football game where you got 100,000 people there, sometimes maybe you're not directly making an impact. You can really make an impact, you being passionate and supporting your Auburn Tigers. We love our support. We've got an amazing group of girls and they deserve a great crowd out there. But yeah, we'd love to have everyone and anyone out there and supporting us. No better place than the Yarborough Tennis Center to watch a tennis match.
It is fantastic. I think I came to the A&M match last year, which was great, and
Yeah.
a lot of great times out there.
Uh-huh.
Finally,
Yeah.
Jordan, you mentioned the championships are in Athens.
Mhm.
It's been a very successful season. Two of the most disappointing times this year were, I think, against Texas A&M late, and then against Georgia late. How far has this team come, and how motivated are they to get past that in the postseason here?
Yeah. That was, I think, yesterday was a big moment for us, and I use the term "get the monkey off our back" because we've been so close to winning a championship this year, and obviously the regular season and the national indoors where we lost to Georgia 4-3, and that was a great shot to win a national title, and we kind of both times let it slip, and I think the team has come so far from the expectations that there were from the team maybe 2 or 3 years ago. The level was there, but I don't know if the championship mindset was there as a team. Obviously, great players individually, but it is different in a team game like this. So I think yesterday, kind of getting that win and now having the championship under our belt is we know we can do it. We have the confidence to do it. We know what it takes to do it. Only 6 teams have ever won the SEC and SEC women's tennis. It's been dominated by a certain few schools, and
Yeah,
we're kind of the ugly duckling coming into the mix now, and we're not so ugly anymore. So I think yesterday was a big moment for us to kind of get that you know, on our side, and now we can go and play a little looser and know we can do it, and now we can go and show it one day at a time. But talk cheap, we got to go put it into action. I like coaching action, and if we play our best tennis, we'll be up to it up to our eyeballs. But if we don't play our best tennis, we could lose every match we play the rest of the season because we're only playing the best from here on out.
yeah,
So, but it's exciting. I really, really feel like you don't get that many shots as a team where you can really control your destiny by your level, because we have the capability to play the best tennis in the country. And I'm not shy saying that, and I think, there's pressure in any way you look at it, but let's be confident about our ability and let's try and show it.
yeah. Well, I guess when you get to this point in the season, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best, right? So,
That's the
uh,
truth. That's the truth. And I
yeah,
think that's the other thing is we need to know is we think we're the best. Other teams I'm sure look at us and are scared to play us. And so we got to have some confidence and swag every time we go out there. So
yeah, yeah. Well, Jordan, appreciate it again. Good luck this week in Norman, Oklahoma. The SEC championships will be following your progress, and
mhm.
we'll see you soon. War Eagle.
Awesome, Doug. I appreciate you having me on War Eagle.